If you want to work on your shoulder and back bend flexibility, the exercise I'm going to show you today is going to be one of your favorite ones. I'm the flexibility guy, Coach Elia, and I'm going to teach you the Cupido pose, one of the best exercises in my opinion to work on your back bend and shoulders flexibility. Let's go. Okay guys, so to perform the Cupido pose you need a band like this, also an elastic band, works great. And under my back knee I'm gonna keep like a small mat, something like this, or you can use a yoga block as well. Now what you do want to do is this, you do want to pull the band around your back foot like this, okay? Then you put the back knee on top of something and you bend a little bit the back knee as well, okay? So something like this. You take a lunge with the other leg, really a big lunge, okay? So you want to take this really deep and big lunge. Your front shin bone should be perpendicular to the floor. Now, front hand for the balance on top of your knee. If you want, you can also use a yoga block to help yourself. Now, bend the leg and go with the, as you can see, I'm grabbing the band here and I'm going with my elbow in like this. As you can see, my knee is flexed, okay? And the elbow is approximately on top of my shoulder. Now, to create the stretch, I want to go down with my hips, and at this point, I do want to extend my back knee as much as possible, pulling my shoulder into flexion. And as I do this, I want to open through my back. So I open through my back, open, 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 go as much as I can, come back. So again, I go, open, 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 as much as I can, come back. As I go, I open through the shoulder and I open through the back at the same time, as you can see here. I can keep my elbow bent for a certain amount of stretch, or I can keep it straight as well. It's not gonna change the fact that I do want to go into this deep and really, really good stretch, both for my shoulder and for my spine. Now, I gotta be honest with you. You're gonna see me keeping my elbow always slightly bent. This is because I have an injured shoulder, my right shoulder. It popped out so many times, so I have to protect the shoulder from dislocating, popping out, okay? And the way I do it is by keeping the elbow slightly bent, but you gotta straighten your elbow. So, elbow bent is like this, 90 degrees. Elbow straight, try to straighten it all the way if your shoulder doesn't pop out like mine, okay? Just know that. As I get into the position, I'm gonna work on this movement called shoulder flexion, which happens when I bring my arm on top of my head and I go back. This movement of shoulder flexion is what characterizes the back bend position, the bridge position, and it stretches my lats, my triceps, and my delts, my posterior delts a lot. One thing you do want to pay attention to is your elbow position. You do want to keep your elbow in and don't spread it out, because the moment you spread it out, you lose the stretch on your lats and on the muscles you do want to work on during this Cupido pose position, okay? So, elbow in, both if you keep your arm straight or you keep it bent, it doesn't matter. Think about driving your elbow in front of your head to maximize the stretch on the desired muscles you stretch in the Cupido pose. This exercise here can be done in a dynamic way by getting in and out of the stretch, extending and bending your back leg for reps, and in a static way. So you extend your back leg as much as possible and remain in the stretch for a certain amount of breaths or seconds. Usually what I suggest people do is start with some dynamic reps, so you go for 5 to 10 reps, and on the last one you do want to remain in the stretch for longer, for example for 5 to 10 breaths. There are 3 things that create the stretch, and you do want to pay attention to each one of these. The first one is shoulder flexion, so you do want to make sure to open through the shoulder as you perform this exercise here. So always remember to drive your elbow and your hand behind you as much as possible to stretch your upper body. Second, you do want to extend your back knee. So of course, you do start with your knee bent. That's because this creates less distance between your hand or your elbow and your foot. But as long as you keep that distance, you're not gonna stretch. The moment you extend your back knee, you create traction and you create the stretch on your upper body. So remember, you do want to extend your back knee to create the stretch. Third and last detail you do want to pay attention to, you want to push your hips down. This is really important to achieve the best stretch possible, but make sure that this doesn't make you lose the stretch on top, on your shoulders and on your arms, okay? So shoulders and arms first, hips second. Even though these are the three main things you do want to pay attention to, there's another one which is a little smaller, a small detail, but that plays a big role, which is the position of your front knee. Make sure that as you get into the position and as you stretch, you keep your front knee in line with your body. So that means don't drive your front knee out too much. You can drive it out a little bit if you feel that your front hip is in the way too much. So you can slightly move it out, but don't move it out too much, okay? A little bit is okay, just a few centimeters. All the way out, no, okay? So you do want to keep, because it's not there. Like the purpose of the stretch is to let you open through the back, through the shoulders and through the spine, okay? So as long as you keep your hips in line, the exercise is correctly done. So this is how you do want to perform the Cupido pose. One of the best stretches you can do for your upper body, for your shoulders and for your arms to gain more flexibility, not only in your shoulder and arms, as I said, but in your entire back. This is really strong as a stretch, so make sure to follow the correct technique I've just explained you and to perform dynamic and static stretches as you get into this wonderful stretching position. If you have any questions or doubts for me, leave a comment down below, a thumb up if you enjoyed the video, and if you want to find positions like these to stretch your upper body, to stretch your body in general, to learn the splits and whatever, you can find all of these inside of my Flexibility Guide app, which you can find in the description down below. With that said, thank you so much for staying with me, have a nice stretch, and see you in the next video. Bye.
I traveled all the way to Japan in this place of silence and peace to find out the secrets of flexibility training. I'm in this temple right now because here is where I believe it's hidden the secret I'm looking for. It gotta be somewhere around here. What? A book? Nani? Honwa? Secret desu ka? Amazon de kaimasu ka? Oh, so ka. Arigatou gozaimasu. Stretching Modern Flexibility Methods is the complete playbook to master your flexibility, and you can check it out on Amazon right now. Huh? It works! It works!